Good afternoon and welcome to Car Chat Live. My name is Chad Miller, sitting here with Tony Shanklin. We are from
Where are we from? San Antonio,
San
Texas.
Antonio.
And Chad Miller Auto Care.
Oh my goodness! And Chad Miller Auto Care.
It was the Chad.
It was the Chad. Who did it? It was the Chad. Hope everybody likes the intro. We are kind of playing around with it. We're also playing around with a little more graphics as you see up on the screen. So,
Well, we're just making it to where you can actually see it.
well,
Last week, I don't think you could see it.
you couldn't see it?
Well, I mean, it was really tiny.
It was, but
Some of us might be getting up there where we can't read that.
I think this is now, it's our colors.
Orange.
Orange. Orange is our favorite color. I think this is now, so, had a little feedback there. Doing two things at once.
There's no such thing as multitasking.
Hey,
That's
and we've
what
already
I've
got people listening or watching. We have a shout out to Tom Woodard.
heard. Tom?
Tom, don't you have a football game to?
Nope, football's over.
Football's over. And Patrick Hoffman, BG. We'll have to talk about BG. Maybe Patrick will throw us a T-shirt or a hat or something like that, and he will. We can, maybe broadcast, talk a little bit about what BG products are. Maybe if they
Is that legal, or do we have to have some sort of permission?
we might have to have permission. I don't know. Maybe adding that product will help with what we're going to talk about later.
I mean, we don't know all the Facebook rules yet.
No, we don't know them all yet. I'm sure we'll be well versed in them soon. So, all right. So we got someone else on. We got Derek Hoffman. Derek, all the way from Orlando, Florida. He was going to Hollywood Studios today. Kind of talked to him a little bit earlier.
What are all these people from Orlando? We had people from Orlando listening.
That's right.
Last week, but they don't have any shops in Orlando, or
I don't know. They have any shops, good shops, bad shops, any shops. They do. They have a shop at Disney.
roller coaster technicians.
Roller coaster technicians. So, yeah, we are Chad and Tony from Chad Miller Auto Care on Car Chat Live. You can reach us if you want to have some questions, have your questions answered. All that information is up on the screen. You can go ahead and email us at service@cmautocare.com. Hit us at Twitter at Chad Miller Auto Care, and Skype at CM Auto Care 6011 if you want to be broadcast live.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I think we're going to talk about
something with cars.
some of the cars. We're going to talk about cafe standards. We touched a little bit about it last week. What is cafe standards? And when you Google it, it is not Starbucks.
It's how hot your coffee is at Starbucks. That's cafe standards.
So we'll talk about cafe standards. Maybe we'll talk. We'll have a little tech tip today for those listening or viewing in. This is our second week at this Car Chat Live video broadcast.
So we have no idea what we're doing. Well, we sort of do.
We
I'm
do.
learning to look at my camera instead of looking at the monitor over there.
Right. I always look at the monitor. I'm looking at the monitor up top. I'm looking at the monitor down below. We've got a phone call, but I will tell you right now, I don't know how I can pick up this phone call and talk to you, so I will do my best. Let's see.
We have to figure it out.
Call from
Johnny Shortsleeve.
Uh-oh.
to accept, press 1. To
Oh,
send a voicemail,
look at
press
that.
2.
I think. Hello.
Hello.
Is this... Can you hear me?
Hello, Breaker.
Breaker, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Holy cow. Technology at its finest.
Fantastic.
All right.
Hey, this is your old buddy Johnny Shortsleeve calling in from Orlando, Florida, Sunshine State.
Oh, how are you, sir?
Long time listener, first time caller.
Long time as of 2 weeks.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Hey, congratulations on show number 2 here.
Well, thank you, sir.
I want to see if I could call in and pick your guys' brain for a second.
All right.
So what do you guys have in mind with terms of, I don't know if you've heard about this or not, Toyota is peddling now a hydrogen fuel cell car. Do you guys have any insight as to whether this may be finally something that we see come to market in any type of widespread application? Because right now, as I know, it's really just being marketed to Southern California, because that's where they have a handful of spots where you can refuel. But what's interesting to me is, I think, not necessarily a move of desperation, but if you buy one of these things, which is, I think, just to get in the door with one of them, it's basically a hydrogen cell Prius. It's like 55, 60 grand. But then they offer you a little carrot by saying, hey, we'll go give you 3 years of free fuel, which is maximum 15 grand. And we're going to try to see if we can get people excited. So basically take the 60 minus 15 grand, and that's kind of your price. But so the big question I have is, all right, I understand the aspect of the environment and why that would be a positive thing. But I don't know about you guys and how you are in San Antonio, but in Orlando here, we got a whole bunch of crazies on the road, and I'd be worried about getting into a major wreck with basically a hydrogen bomb under my butt. Is that something you guys what do you guys know about these things? I know they wrap them in like carbon fiber, the cells, but have you guys heard anything about whether this really truly is something that we can look forward to, or is this still kind of them dipping their big toe in the water to see if people actually were interested?
I have not seen anything about this incarnation of what somebody wants to do with it. I know that the biggest issue has been stabilization and how to protect the vehicle. I don't know. I guess Southern California might be the only place that has a couple of stations or fueling areas for these vehicles, but I haven't seen anything from Toyota on this. I mean, this is you're the first person to tell me that Toyota's trying to do something with this. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, maybe it could be the future. That's what they would like to believe, that fuel cells like that are going to be the future of vehicles, but I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to believe. We're from Texas. We're fossil fuel people, so.
Right, it's all about the oil.
But I mean, that definitely Toyota has been on the forefront of a lot of things. I mean, their hybrids to date have been the best and most reliable. The Prius has been, I mean, not a lot of people make jokes about it, but it's really a very, very reliable, dependable hybrid vehicle that gets 50 miles per gallon. So if anybody can do it, I have no doubt that Toyota could pull it off. But I haven't. I'll have to read about it and see.
Well, down there in Texas, you guys have a lot of, or what's the saturation on the market there with natural gas and CNG, and you guys have a lot of the trucks running on that?
No, not really. I mean, what we saw about it in our most recent looking is that there's so many EPA regulations that it's keeping it from being something that, I mean, Honda has a Civic that's CNG, but they don't sell hardly any of them.
I think even, I don't know if they still do, but Ram had a 1500 that you could get a CNG option on it.
Yeah, of late I haven't seen any, and the pricing on fuel is not all that advantageous, and there's not a bunch of places that you can go to and do it. I mean, I know right now natural gas is, I mean, they found some pretty huge deposits. It would be advantageous for them to run cars on it, but there's not a whole lot of service for it at the moment. And there was, when we looked at, there used to be a lot of like city trucks and things that ran off CNG, and none of the, I don't think any of those really exist anymore.
Yeah, and like Tony was saying, they just don't make it advantageous or cost effective for shops to have it or to service them either. When we looked into it, it was a ridiculous amount of money just to even start getting into the game of servicing these vehicles.
Well, I think even just buying the fuel, I don't know how it is around the country, but in some pockets of the country, if you had a CNG, a non-commercial vehicle, you had to go to like municipalities and buy it straight from them. No, you couldn't go to your neighborhood Shell or Exxon and fill up.
Right. And you won't find shops that really service those vehicles because they don't have the equipment to service the fuel systems.
Right, but that's those are some questions we can look into. We can kind of do a little research, talk to our guys at Toyota that we know, see if if we can get anything in the pipeline. Maybe we can get somebody on the air. They can talk about it too. But that's I always have my questions or my concerns about people and wanting some of these alternative fuels. I think they're great, but what's the reason behind it sometimes? Because
well, if you think part of it is, there's, like here's a crazy question. If you drove up to your local gas station, and how, I don't know how it is down by you guys, but you come here to or sunny Orlando, and you go to a Five Guys and grab yourself a burger and some fries, there's a little whiteboard that says, today we have potatoes from Boise, Idaho. What if you pulled up to your local gas station and you said, hey, today I'm buying gas from Saudi Arabia? You might think, well, let me go see what the Citgo down the way where they got their gas from today. If it's from Texas, I'm going to go pay a couple extra bucks and get Texas oil and try to support the United States economy instead of importing foreign oil. When I run for president in 2020, that's going to be on top of the ticket. I'll call it right here first.
There we go. All right, Johnny. Thank you, sir. We'll look into that and hopefully have some more information for you next week on that.
Fantastic. I'll expect some answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Already expected.
And if not, ask them how far off Toyota is from going full Doc Brown, like Back to the Future 7 or whichever movie that was where he's dumping trash.
There we go. Little trash. We can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
thanks, Johnny.
great.
You have a great day. Enjoy
right, you
Hollywood
too.
Studios. All right. Johnny, all the way from Orlando. Look at that.
Hey, we did a phone call.
We did a phone call. I hope people could hear it. I don't know if they
That was monumental.
could actually.
Somebody will tell us.
I know. Hey, we got some more people on the line. We got Lee Mamarella joined us again for week number 2. We had Ronald Miller from Gilmore City, Iowa, who joined. My uncle, Ron Miller. So if you're still there, if you're not there, hey, Ron, we got Thomas Gainey. You remember Thomas Gainey, Tony?
I think so.
Thomas Gainey. Allison Miller is joining us. Thomas Gainey has had an avalanche. He
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
they have internet in Iowa? I didn't know.
I don't
that.
know. Ron must have good internet in Iowa because I could see him up there.
That must be satellite in because, I know y'all don't have. Do y'all even have running water?
Yeah, we run out to the creek and get it and bring it back in.
It's corn water.
It is corn water. Hey, everything corn. So last week we talked a little bit about talking about cafe standards. And what are cafe standards? So, Tony, what is...
Well, I can tell you this. If you care about the environment, you will not drive a Rolls Royce.
what are cafe standards?
What is it? Corporate American Fuel Economy. That's what CAFE stands for. And it's been around since 1975 when they started writing fuel standards for vehicles and what the fuel efficiency rating should be on vehicles. And obviously it varies with size of the vehicle and use of the vehicle. And, there's been a lot of talk about it recently because, whenever we made this decision, 2012, I think, is when they first, at least in our recent time, that by 2025, however they figure this wonderful mathematical problem, vehicles need to be getting 54.5 miles per gallon. And it's figured, I don't know exactly how they figure it. I'm not going to
There is a...
But I'm sure you know all the math to it.
Yeah, there's a crazy mathematical system. We went ahead and put up. We're playing with this technology, so we went ahead and put up what EPA proposed standards are coming up. So, and it's like Tony said, it's a crazy mathematical way to do, but
well, it's crazy in that somehow if you're Chevy and you have the Volt and the Bolt, which are both primarily completely electric vehicles, they apply a miles per gallon to those vehicles.
right.
So your electric vehicle now helps you in your CAFE standards with the rest of your vehicles. And that's, I don't quite understand that because the Bolt, they say, gets 119 miles per gallon, even though you really don't put gas in it.
Right. So I mean, it behooves these automotive companies to, to further their development of the electric car, maybe the hydrogen car, the hybrid, whatever you want to do, because if you get that high 90 miles per gallon, then you can get that Hummer gas guzzler.
No, don't buy a Hummer. Fortunately, you can't buy a Hummer anymore.
Right. So in 2017, what the EPA is actually saying is each automaker, they have to have, 36.6 miles per gallon combined on their cars and trucks. And that jumps up to, in less than 10 years, you have to have an average of 54.5 miles per gallon, or you're supposed to have this fine imposed.
Is it like a luxury tax for going over the salary cap in the NBA?
I guess. But they're supposed to be imposing them, but they've imposed just pennies on the dollar for any,
Well, we're not meeting the standards that were supposed to be met in 1987. If I remember correctly, I think the average that they put forth in 1987 was like 27, 28, somewhere in that range. And we're not meeting those standards, and I don't think there's any fines or things being levied against automakers. But it's the reason we talk about it is because everything that they have to do to these vehicles, like he was talking about the potential hydrogen vehicle. That vehicle is $60,000. The Bolt, which is another really small electric vehicle from Chevy, is $40,000, and it all impacts the cost of your vehicle. And does it impact it in a way that really benefits you? I think Tesla has done a great job with their vehicles. Unfortunately, some of the pricing on their vehicles is, I can buy a lot of gas for a $100,000 car.
Right.
So, what is the benefit to the consumer? And obviously, their greenhouse effects and climate change and all of that is the stuff that they look at. And is there real data to this? I read a few things, and there's very conflicting thoughts on whether there's real evidence of this being a big issue with automakers or not. Do airliners have new CAFE standards? Well,
I know that's a great question. It is.
My
and how much fuel do they burn?
My neighbor across the street is actually an aircraft mechanic, and he said that the biggest polluters on the planet are aircraft, not automobiles. So
it's something to consider. Hey, we have another person from Iowa. See, I get all these Iowa. Well, I think she's from Illinois now, but Emily Rollins from I went to high school with her.
Man,
I know. I won't say how long ago that was, Emily. Hope everything is good up in the Northland. So, yep, it's good to see you on. If you have any questions, you have any car questions, or just want to, say hello, just shoot us an email at service@cmautocare.com. You can hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up. I said that to my daughter earlier, and she
don't say those things.
Said, "Dad, you don't say hit it up anymore.
You tweet.
You tweet. Tweet us at CMAuto. You can also Skype us. And from what we found out earlier, if you want to give us a call, you can be live on the air at 731-CAR-CHAT.
Potentially, we still don't know if everyone heard that.
Oh. We're going to ban Allison Miller from the comments. She just said she's going to tell everybody how long ago I was in high school. Not how many years, but how long ago.
It was this century.
It was this. No, it wasn't.
It was. Well,
Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
it was
actually.
not.
It wasn't. No, neither one of us. Neither one of us.
So, no, but those were the good old days. Playing in the rock quarries.
What else did you have for us today, sir?
Well, we were going to talk. Well, we were going to, hopefully get a couple of phone calls.
We got one.
We got one phone call. Hopefully get some questions.
Monumental.
It was monumental because we know that the technology works. So I am not that stupid. I mean, so we are going to do a little tech talk. We are going to talk a little bit about kind of continue on last week as far as what questions when you're buying a new car or buying a car that you should ask, and not just the common questions of how much does it cost, but
Does it come with a Fitbit key?
does it come
That's
with?
my
Ooh, there you
question.
go. Does it come with a Fitbit key? Hey,
Which car is that you were telling me about?
Jaguar. You get a Jaguar, you get a Fitbit key. My aunt is on, or Allie's aunt is on. How are you doing today? Good to see you live here on Car Chat Live with. I'm gonna say Car Chat Live with Tony and Chad.
Okay, what does the Fitbit key do?
Oh.
That's what we care about.
Actually, what some of the automakers are now doing, instead of getting a key, and years ago they've started getting away from this. Instead of just getting your regular key, you would start getting a key fob. You get into your car, start the car. Now Jaguars come out, and I think maybe somebody before that may have too, but I just saw it in Jaguar that you get a Fitbit watch or something that looks like a Fitbit watch that acts as your key.
So when you walk up to it, it's kind of like the locks they have now already with the whatever they call them. I don't know. My brain just stopped.
The
right
RF
there.
locks or
Right, where you press the button.
Yep.
Proximity. That's what it is. So you walk up to it with your Fitbit and it unlocks.
We do. Hey, I think we might have another phone call, or I got somebody just calling in on my personal cell. I don't know.
So
Let's
you gotta
see.
figure out how to know.
I got to figure out.
From
Robert McNamara.
Oh, hey,
to
we
accept,
got a phone
press
call.
1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Nope, it says you want to send a voicemail.
Oh no, we're gonna
To
listen
accept,
to him.
press 1. To
Hey, welcome to Car Chat. This is Chad and Tony. How can we help you today? Robert McNamara, all the way from San Antonio, Texas.
I can't bring you up on YouTube. How come?
No,
Is that
not
the
yet.
way?
I will tell you off the air why we can't go on YouTube yet.
Not allowed to talk about
Not
it.
allowed
Are
to
you
talk
gonna
about
put
that.
a link?
There will be
Right.
a
Go ahead, sir.
yeah. We will put a link on YouTube on all this social media, all the networking that we can do. Yes, sir.
Got a question.
Okay.
I got two young males that are both across the street, pardon me, around my area. How do you convince them that it's good to get in the automotive industry and that's a good job?
That's
I don't know. It's tough because you have to get dirty and you have to actually, it's physical labor. So that's doesn't seem to be a big thing for young people.
But it is tough. That's a good question, Robert. That it's tough to get young people or anybody in the automotive industry, right out of school. I don't think we're kind of not being in school for a few years. We're not pushing the trades that we used to. And
A few, he
yeah,
says.
just a few. We're not pushing the trades that we did. For some reason, just my personal opinion is, people think trades are a dirty word. Yes, it's a dirty job, but it's very rewarding. But they push. If you don't go to college, you're nothing. Well, that's not true.
Well, you can
What is a
still go to
good program
college.
if they're interested?
Richard, one of their technicians at the shop, he went to he went to Houston, right?
Universal Technical Institute in Houston.
Yeah, he went to UTI in Houston. So there's that. There's St. Philip's here in San Antonio. There's
Does that give them an associate's degree?
They, at least the way they used to structure it, you can get either your associate's degree in automotive technology, or you can go through like a year-long course, and get basically you get your certificate for all of the areas that they do study, so that you can go into the field. I mean, I would recommend, it's not the way I did it, but I would recommend getting your associate's degree, because I think that if you're going to go to school, you should go to school and get a more complete education. That's just my opinion.
Makes you a little more rounded.
I think so.
definitely.
And just the products of the technicians that I've been with and worked around that did that are a step ahead. So
What would be, for a good technician, what would be like the earning capacity?
Well,
I know you don't want to disclose anything.
no. I mean,
We'll say in other shops, not yours.
I mean, I don't care. We can talk about our shop.
It depends on what you end up working on and what industry you work in. I mean, it's like a lot of jobs. It's as a rule, it is essentially a commission-based job where you get paid for the hours that you produce. That's somewhat antiquated in my opinion, but I think most technicians can make from $50,000 to $80,000 a year, or even more, depending on what kind of vehicles you decide to work on, or what specific area you go into.
And you don't even. And,
My other question is.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say, how about say heavy diesel versus independent shop?
Well, now you're talking a whole different situation. If you decide to work on heavy equipment or heavy diesels, then one, God bless you, but two, I mean, I know that especially if you go beyond like a diesel truck and you're working on heavy equipment like Caterpillars and bulldozers, and I mean, some of those guys make a considerable amount more than a regular automotive technician.
Now, is that like an ACS certification, or is there special certification for diesel?
ASC has certifications for everything. So, I mean, I don't know what all those certifications are, but I know that they do have certifications for that. But
okay.
I have a friend that
My
works on heavy equipment, and he works 6 months a year, and he makes well over six figures in a whole year.
Wow.
So
is that in the oil fields?
It's out close to farm areas and oil field areas, yes. Where he's can charge whatever he wants.
Has BG come out with a 020 oil yet?
I don't believe so. They've got a 030, a 520. I don't know if they've come out with a 020 yet. That's something we can talk to our supplier about. See what.
I'm at 520. They have come out with a 520.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right now. That's the industry standard oil. Pretty much everything out there is running a 520, and then it'll go.
Now, do you recommend because we're hotter here, running like a 530 versus a 520 when it's summertime?
No, I recommend running whatever that engine asks for.
Yeah, the manufacturers are a little bit smarter than we are. So I mean, they've done their testing. They've done their due diligence for the most part. So I know there's some other testing and standards, but their R&D department I think is a little bit better than what ours is right now.
Way better.
A little bit way better.
I'm not going to go there. I have the right to remain silent. Anyhow, one other question too.
Yes, sir, Robert.
Because I said I'm sorry?
No problem. Go ahead.
There was one thing. I ran into a problem. I was doing my car and the inspections. How do you check just the backup lights? Because you have to be in reverse if you're one person. See if the white lights come on.
Turn the key all the way on. Put the parking brake
on.
Oh, yeah,
but see, you got to put it in reverse.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to have the.
I don't always trust the emergency brake.
Yeah, but you don't have to have it started, Robert.
You don't have to have the car running.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Aren't you the smart one?
Well, he is. That's why we have him here. I'm the good-looking one. He's the smart one.
Oh my Lord.
See?
Which one's the geezer, though?
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry.
He's got more white hair. I've got more age. Hey, Robert, thanks for the phone call. You have a good rest of your week.
Thank you,
yes, sir. Bye-bye. Hey, 2 phone calls.
Okay,
2 of them work.
If we continue to get phone calls, we're going to have to make our show longer.
We are going to have to make our show longer because, oh, my goodness, it's already almost 3:30. Hey, we've got a couple others on. We've got Mary Ramos on the line. We have Allison Miller still there. We have Melinda Ecoff. Now, I got to tell you, these are all my family. All my family. Even though Melinda has no idea who I am, she probably has never seen me other than on Facebook. But Melinda, all the way from Iowa, hello. Thank you very much for joining. Hopefully the Ecoffs up in the Britt and Mason City area are behaving themselves, enjoying this nice cold weather.
Sorry, I didn't know to call on my family and have them jump on. Sorry, I should have done that.
Hey, I had to pay a little bit more, but we had it. So
most of my folks aren't on social media, so it wouldn't have helped.
So what else? We were talking before we had that about buying a car. What do we try to do? We're going to try to do one tip a week. What questions do you ask that when you're buying a car that you're not typical?
No, we know our tip of the week already.
What's that?
Motor oil
Oh,
is not
an
an
option.
optional fluid.
Yes, there you go. We're just going to go basic. This is our. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this just for Tony because I know he's
start
not
from the beginning.
Here we go. Watch on your screen. Tech Tip Live
I don't think
with
this counts.
Tony Shanklin.
This should not count as a tech tip.
It is a tech tip.
But in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I would say, well, okay, let's start with the basics. One, gasoline is absolutely essential
Right.
to the running of your vehicle. If your vehicle stops and the fuel gauge is on E, it may have run out of gas. That's tech tip 1. See, that's important information. The next one is if the little oil lamp thing that looks like a genie lamp comes on and your engine is making noise, it's probably a good idea to stop and check your oil. We've had how many 5 or 6 vehicles in 3 days come in that had no oil in them at all?
Right.
None. So we were good. Richard wanted to put it on the billboard that oil was not
oil
an
is not an option.
So this is our start here. If it continues, then we will put it up on the marquee to tell people that oil is not an
Right.
optional fluid.
And hey, oil is not an option.
It needs it. Your vehicle needs oil.
Well, and we joke about it, but anymore, your vehicle is going to tell you even before it decides to knock, and
Maybe.
the Chevys all the time.
Sometimes once they start knocking,
Yeah,
it's
it's done.
the first knock at the door is the last.
Right. And I stand corrected. Emily, who from the graduating class of Gilmore City, is from Wisconsin now.
Ooh.
So Wisconsin. But yeah, no, oil is definitely not an option. It is, and when you take, and as Tony said, when you take your car into the shop, please make sure it has a little bit of gas.
Yeah, if you bring it to any shop and say my car is not running right, after I drive it for a while, it does this and it doesn't have any gas in it. We can't figure out what's going on
Right.
without putting gas in it.
Yeah, we may have to add a few dollars. We could be Hertz or Enterprise and just go ahead and
$4.75 a gallon.
$5.75 a gallon.
Oh.
If I've got to walk over to the Valero,
Oh my god.
it's going to be $5.75 a gallon.
Yeah.
But no, it is absolutely crazy. It's and those are just little tips. And it used to be though you didn't have to check your oil because you had somebody go and check the oil for you. The full service stations that they had back in the day.
Maybe that's maybe we could have our own full service gas station also.
We could
Retro.
So we have looks like we've come to the end of our day already today. That was 30 minutes. That was actually
that was 33 minutes.
We're
going to have to make our show longer.
We're going to have to make it longer. If we're getting phone calls, that's awesome. We will ancient history. Yes, Mary, ancient history as far as full service shops. But I actually did full service shop back in Virginia. Helped me put me through college. So I remember. And I wore one of those little bow ties too.
That's a scary picture.
It is. Scary picture, a bow tie. So, but if you were and Allison Miller just just said that even in New Jersey, it is illegal to pump your own gas, which I did know. Somebody told me, but I forgot, and I guess one of our friends was up there and went to pump his own gas, and he kind of got scolded. I don't know why.
That's fine. I can sit in my car until they're done.
I can too, especially in the 100-degree weather here in San Antonio. So next week we'll be back again on Saturday at 3:00. If you have any questions, you want us to talk about something next week, go ahead and send us an email to service@cmautocare.com. You can go ahead and leave a message on our hotline at 731-CAR-CHAT. Also, send us a tweet at Chad Miller Auto. Obviously, you won't be able to Skype with us until next week, but if you have any questions, want to leave it with us, please feel free to do so. Look forward to hearing all your automotive questions next week. I'd like to thank Tony for coming in. He's going to be coming in every week.
People had suggestions this week, and we didn't get.
We
their
didn't get to them.
suggestions.
I guess we might have to bump up our.
Next week the show will be longer.
We might have to bump up our show longer.
That's
So-
the demand. We have to meet the demand.
Right. Hey, and we did fix the background as somebody asked. We went ahead. We're almost the same. Uh-oh. We got a ghost. We got Fraser the ghost that just joined us. So until next week, this is Chad and Tony from from Chad Miller Auto Care on Car Chat Live. You have been listening to Car Chat Live, fueled by Chad Miller Auto Care.